Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of The Sackdown. This is going to be a weekly show that I do with Yamato and a prominent member of the community. We got Perkz here, obviously, for the first episode. And this is going to be a little bit more of a free-flowing show. We're going to just talk about whatever we want to when it comes to the guest's career, when it comes to the state of current League of Legends, metas, whatever we find interesting. And it's going to be a free-flowing show. So we're going to use the space to combat some narratives in the community. I know Yamato and I like doing that a lot on stream. And a lot of times, if you watch the SAC, especially during LEC this year, we get into modes where it pretty much becomes a podcast anyway. So might as well just have our own space to just create the real official Sackdown podcast. So thank you guys for coming and watching the first episode. And Yamato, take it away. Tell us how it is to be on this show and have it officially done.
Honestly, finally, bro. It's been years in the making. It's like we've had, like, I have uploaded like YouTube videos of us talking for like 2-3 hours randomly. It's like when I just say, Dom, what do we think about this? And then we just start talking and we just go on these random tangents. And I think that's you hit the nail on the head when saying combating narratives, because I think that's what we do on stream mostly. I think in a lot of cases, opinions of people, opinions of players are very surface level. And like for me, the callback is just to the crackdown. Like, well, it's legendary in a way because it's like beefs between players were started, historic events happened. I remember like the Whippo episode, which went completely ballistic.
Oh my God.
It's like, I think showing the personality and, for example, in our case now we have Perkz here. Like, I think Perkz, you are the perfect first guest because in my mind, for me and Dom, we know how fucking legendary you are. And then everything is kind of warped around the most recent thing that happened. That is, of course, the Team Heretics benching. But first and foremost, Perkz, legendary player. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. Thank you for the title. I'm a legendary AD carry, legendary mid laner. I am grateful to get invited, to share my whatever you guys ask me, my thoughts, my opinions, my past, my future, I'm down to talk about everything. I'm open.
Open. That's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. And, we also think you'd be a perfect guest because I feel like you've experienced it all from the community. You were like one of the most hated players in the beginning because of the whole vacation memes. Then you popped off, had the best career in EU for like 4 or 5 years. So everyone was just completely just hyping you up no matter what. Everyone loved you. And then recently the community turned on you again. So you've experienced the ups and downs of this community. And, you're a perfect controversial figure to get on the show so we can talk about everything. And like Yamato said, I think the place we need to start to capture all the Zoomer interest immediately is the Heretics situation, because it was pretty vague from the outside looking in. There was, rumors, obviously. There was reports that there was some drama between you and a manager. Then you were tweeting out the hashtag keep smiling, which was RNA's old catchphrase, the thing that he would tweet at the end, his tag on every single tweet. So let's start off with the first question. The Heretics benching, from your perspective, what happened there?
Okay, so what happened was basically, I guess I can go a bit back as well. We had like discussions about roster changes in between the winter and spring, right? And we all agreed to get Shrimby since he was free agent. And then we had like also one-on-one talks, everyone with coaches and staff, and it was obvious that, the only problems weren't obviously Carzzy, right? And we talked about our issues, our attitudes, behaviors, whatnot, if your gameplay stuff, whatever, all of those things. And it's been apparent that there's been, some like tension between the players and the staff. And I wouldn't say it was only me. I would say it was like a lot of things, like happening, some things, being brought up. Like, I don't know how to explain it like very well without like sounding too aggressive, but it's like, let's maybe just say that the staff and the players that we had, which were like basically 5 veterans, right? I mean, yes, 5 veterans, was kind of a mismatch, It was kind of a mismatch between the staff that we had and the 5 veterans. And, we've tried like, I've had a lot of talks and others have had talks with coaches and stuff, but it will be apparent that we will not always agree, with the coaches as well and the approaches to things as well. And, to me, it was like a lot of approaches to draft or to game in general, to game, but mostly revolved around draft, how you approach draft, but just not aligning with me, and also with some other players. But I'm always the most outspoken one. Like I've always been that in my whole career, and I've always been the guy who I would say brings a slight dose of confrontationality on the team. Confrontation, I don't know how to say it. Confrontation, yeah. And it's always been a thing I did. Maybe on C9 a bit less, because on C9 we already had a lot of confrontation. So on C9 I took more of a role of like a class clown. But back to the point of Heretics, so that was like an ongoing thing. And then after we changed Dream B, Renell was like, talking to me, Jankos, Wunder, I guess, for all the FlyQuest, and it was like, okay, you guys have to behave better towards coaches, blah, blah, they're having hard time with you, blah, blah. And then, we didn't have like the best scrim records, but it wasn't like disastrous, like what I heard they had now. It was like, say, like 40% or something. But side note, in my career, like, I don't think I've ever had less than 60% in scrims, like win rate, and people might say win rate doesn't matter, but that's like, on average, 1 or 2 games lost more, in Heretics in winter than we did. Like we had like maybe like 35, 40, like I don't know, right? But it wasn't great, it's both for sure been, it's more annoying when you lose scrims. It's definitely more annoying. There is more arguments regarding to game approach and stuff. But I would say that we had a pretty good relationship within the team, the 5 players. I think we got along really well, and I think we were able to, talk about our problems, work on them. We had good mood. Like that was all pretty good. And we started to, getting to know each other better and better again. And all of that. So then we come to the point which happened, like 4 days before LEC started, was I had an argument with Arnea on Discord, which was basically recorded. Like all of our scrims were recorded, and that's normal, right? But they were like live streamed, and they were like accessible to like academy team, to the management in Spain, or like people in Spain, like in Madrid. Yep. It was like, to me, that was such a weird thing as well, because, it should be like a private thing between you.
So sometimes co-streamers have access to those. I've had access to those before randomly. So
so basically it's like the first fault, and then like I had this argument with Arnea where he came and tried to coach me about the game, where like what he mentioned, like I accepted what he mentioned, and I explained it nicely like 2 or 3 times why that was not the case. And and then he keeps like going on it all in on his idea of like, like, come on, he's been a player 10 years ago, and he was a average to bad player. Like, I'm just honest, he was average to bad player 10 years ago. Like, and when you're, like, there's, of course, people are going to call me egoistic and stuff, but I played 40,000 hours of league in last 10 years. I've been at the very top. I've been struggling. Like, I know how to work on the issues that I have and we have as a team. And I just need, not like 5, we had 4 weeks of play. We had 4 weeks of play plus bootcamp where people were sick. So I need like 2 or 3 months to like work on our things and make us get better, right? And I was putting a lot of effort into trying to make the team better. So that was like creating conversations, arguing with coaches, arguing about our philosophy, about draft. And they didn't like that, they just didn't like that. And, for sure, I'm not an angel here. Like I can come off as aggressive. I can come off as like, but it's just like the way I talk, and no one has ever had a problem with that in my 10 years. And if anything, I would say that I think I was way milder than I used to be in the past. So it just, people didn't like, I think the hierarchy has changed a lot. Like it feels like players have like zero input, or they just want like players to like, bend over and listen to everything coaches say, even if it's fucking bad, So I can't work like that. Like I think in the end, it's honestly a happy thing that at the moment it really hurt, obviously it really stank, but it's a happy thing that I didn't work on them the whole year, because that would have maybe been like actually the end of my career, like actually, and instead, I got taken out for 1v2 against 2 Spanish managers, and I got told this is unacceptable how you're behaving. This is acceptable how you're behaving. You think I'm emotional? No, you think Carlos was emotional? I'm like 10 times more emotional. Even though this might be bad for the team, I have to do this. I have to punish you. And that was basically it. And I was like, you do you. I didn't ask. I didn't say anything. I was like, I'm not gonna go change his mind. Like this guy like that. You do you. So he did it. He went over with that. We went back upstairs, and then everyone was laughing in the scream room. We had like end of the day meeting, and then like I come in, and I'm like, Wunder Jankos, it was fun, guys. It was fun, and then I come back, and then he wants to have a talk with them, and I'm like, I'm just gonna leave because then I will be actually angry if I hear him like talk more. So I just went back to the apartment, like basically, and then I got told afterwards like, what was said in the meeting was so fucking dumb. It was like 0 IQ. It was like really badly brought up. It was basically because TLDR it was basically because even on stream, I said, on that stream, I said, okay, if this is how you guys think about the game, you guys are completely clueless. This is what I told like to my coaches. That's like the worst thing I said. And I also had this argument with him where he was like pushing me. Like it felt like he wanted to do it. And also one more thing that was really funny is like, it's like a lot of people in this industry, in the higher positions, they're like creating their opinion based on Reddit, which is like 5 to 10% of population of players, which are like all fucking bronze. Okay, not bronze, but like if there is like 1% of diamond players of those population, that I said a lot, So, and he basically told me, I've been defending you since day one. Hey, it was always attacking you. The community is attacking you. I've been defending you. And it's like, it basically gives me like an idea where I know this guy reads everything of Reddit. I know he makes opinions of Reddit. I know that, like you cannot reason with him because he obviously has his own idea, and he has mega ego for a mid to average bad player 10 years ago, right? So it's like, I'm not being respected here. I'm like, sure, I've been disrespectful. I've been arrogant, I've been playing 50 games a week while I'm married and go to gym every single day. I've been on time, always, like never late. I've been putting my opinions and stuff. Honestly, I've put so much that maybe I even put a bit too much for like how much I got shut down, So that's kind of basically it. After that, I was told, you don't know if like, I don't know if you're going to come back in 2 weeks or not. And then I was speaking with some other people as well. And then, in the middle of April, they're like, okay, we're going to keep the same roster for summer. You're not going to play. I'm like, okay, sure, it's fine. Like, and that's basically it. I think there is not much more to it. I've been quite honest about it. I have nothing to lose. I don't give a shit what anybody else says. What I think, this is my side of the story. If you ask any one of the team members, I'm sure they will tell you the same. Maybe not right now, maybe in a few months or a year, because they're still contracted as well. But that's just it, But yeah, that's maybe the only decision I ever regretted in my life. I would just be that honest, joining Heretics. Like I knew, funnily enough, after having talked with Heretics, with Aranea, that was like, okay, I'm not sure if I want to go to the team. Because the first interview I had for like 1 hour, and I was like, yeah, I had some better options at the time with staff that I thought were much better. For example, one of them being SK, which I honestly, I will say openly, I regret not joining. I think SK staff was wonderful. I had like 3 hours of talks with them. I think we just misaligned a bit on the roster, and I honestly think I was in the wrong as well. I mean, maybe 50-50, But basically, I think I should have, even though I said to myself before the last year, I was like, I want to have stuff that I believe in and I trust in and they trust in me. I completely disregarded that, and I went with nostalgia, which is like the biggest disease, known to a man. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Heretics because of Wunder and Jankos. I bootcamped with Wunder for like 3 weeks. 4 weeks in Korea, and it was also that time it was like possibilities of Beepo Nemesis joining Heretics, and they wanted like me and Wunder or Beepo Nemesis, and it was like, okay, if I go to another team, Wunder might be teamless because he actually didn't have offers, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Heretics with Wunder, like I like the roster, fuck it, why not, and I think we would have, especially in this meta and with Trimby now in the summer, I think we would have had a really good. We would have had a really good shot at like actually being, a top team, maybe top 3, maybe top 2. Who knows, right? But yeah, that's kind of it, right? Like I gave like the whole story now. my thoughts, opinions, and what happened, and and one thing I will add though is again, I haven't been perfect, towards stuff for sure, but also my play wasn't perfect. My play was not great, I had two weeks where I was playing really well, I think, and then the last 2 weeks I played meh. And then the series against SK, I actually think I played really good. I think I was kind of playing alone that series. Just honest opinions, right? And if you go check the stats, I had 41% of team damage dealt. Not stats matter, but usually you have as 80 or mid, you have 25 to 31 or something, but 40% is really above, limits of what you can do, as how much damage you can output really alone, as a player. So that was kind of, the whole story. I think if I had played better the 2 weeks before and I had better opinion of the base Reddit, I would have not even get benched because I would have been, I would have made myself irreplaceable. But I didn't make myself irreplaceable. Instead, I made myself vulnerable to them. But when I go into a team, I expect us to be a team, a unit on the same page, willing to improve. But 20 roster changes on Heretics in 2 years and 8th place. I think sometimes things come from different angles than from the players. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask there is, what exactly would you say is the role of a GM within the team? Because I've dealt with similar things as a player, where we had I can say it. It's a long time ago, but we had Joka Steve, who was literally, he met Big Steve Arhenset, in an ARAM, and he became our manager, and he was literally a silver or gold player. And I remember there was some times where he would just be we would have problems throwing, and then he'd be yeah, you guys just need to play more controlled when you have a lead. And it's this is so fucking useless to hear from somebody who's actually a silver or gold player. It's I just want to be able to talk about the game with my team and figure out what the actual problems are. Obviously, we know we're fucking throwing the game. We should stop throwing the game. How do we actually get to the point where we're no longer throwing the game? So I've dealt with similar things. And I feel when people are in the day-to-day, a lot of times they feel because they see things from the outside, they can necessarily help, but they're not qualified to actually diagnose or fix the problem. So is this something you've dealt with before? Do you think managers in general overstep their bounds, or was this a new experience for you?
I've had managers try to, overstep bounds, but in the past, he was way more unhinged. He was I remember Jankos at some point just set up yelling can you shut the fuck up? Can you let us talk or something? Yep. It's but the worst thing is he's not even our manager. He's a general manager. So he lives in Spain and he would come to Berlin every few weeks. So you can't expect to come outside of the bubble, and then you can put your nose, and he's been doing it to many players, by the way, and coaches. And I think that's one of the reasons why Curry got benched as well. Because to Peter Dunn, they were doing it as well. I got told everything, personally, yeah, we can't do anything about it. He just does it, he doesn't trust anyone, I guess, and it's you can't come in every few weeks and be a washed player who doesn't actually play the game and coach players who have done it all. That's just that's just it. And I think manager's job should never be to interfere within the game things. It should be behaviors and stuff, which is that's why it was fine when I got told in the off season. I got told, okay, you should try to you have to behave better, you have to do this. I'm okay, I will do that. And I've been working on my relationship. I'm talking about myself, not any other players, because I can't speak for them. I've been working on my own relationship with my coaches, right? And we've had constructive talks basically every single day. And I think there was not one day where we were yeah, at the end of the day, we don't want to see each other or something, So it wasn't like that, It wasn't even that extreme. It was made out to be that extreme, basically. That's my POV. Maybe if you ask him, he will be yeah, he was completely obnoxious, not dealt with. It's always different things. But maybe at some point later in the future, you can ask some players that were on this roster. Could be a fun, it could be a fun throwback.
No, and I feel bro, the most confusing thing is because it's in terms of if I'm signing Perkz, it's very easy to figure out who you are and how you work as a player. The information is right there. You're connected to players that are still active in the scene. It's very easy to understand. Perkz is like this. this is how he moves his teams forwards. I think being confrontational, I think it's a big positive because, for example, an issue in Casey was that we were too like people were just kind of, they had issues, but they were just, oh, I'm gonna just.
Yeah, I hear that from some other teams right now as well. Some good teams, they are not confrontational enough.
You need to have friction because you need to challenge each other's ideas, right? It's like if people don't put their ideas in the open and it doesn't get challenged, you don't get to shape them. It's like you don't get to know which ideas are good. You don't get to know which ideas are bullshit either, right? It's so important. And it's so strange for me. It's like the whole story, how it's sequenced, because it just looks like terrible GMing. It's like 4 days in the middle of a scrim. The players had no clue it was going down.
It's 4 days, 4 scrim days before LEC was starting, by the way. 4 scrim days before LEC was starting.
And they're trying to sell us the story about how Spyro deserves a shot, It was just like kind of a reaction to something that seemed to have bothered him. But I think the worst thing of it all, not the worst thing, but a big part of it is, it's like, you signed a player like Perkz. It's like, you know how he functions in teams. I think it should be very, very easy to understand how you work as a player. And to then be surprised that you are the way you are in the middle of a year and to not have a coaching staff that is compatible with it is just kind of strange, right? It's kind of, I can relate to it on so many levels because in some shapes or form, it's like I joined KC. It's like we had the intention of working 2 years together. We do 4 weeks and then all of a sudden they want to go a different direction, even though in my mind, I knew winter split is going to be tough. We barely boot camped. I knew when the split comes with a lot of randomness. It's like, I know, maybe we start slow. We have many things that are tough to measure, many variables that are up in the air. And
you guys also had a hard week level. First week, you guys had three tough opponents, and it's snowball.
Like Fnatic G2.
It's snowball, yeah.
Shit like this definitely happens, which is so confusing because what you said as well, it's like he's from Spain, like the bubble thing. I think we can all relate to the idea of a bubble. It's like, you work together 12 to 14 hours a day with a group. Everyone in that group has an understanding of the dynamic. Everyone knows each other's roles. Everyone knows to push. And everyone, like that investment of time, I think everyone has such a deep respect for it. So when someone comes in and tells you what to do after not having that level of engagement in the product, that shit pisses me off. And it was probably
it's not even telling you. Not even telling you. It's more like actually arguing with you to the point where he's making you triggered and go insane. I think the biggest thing was that it was recorded and the whole Spain could play it. That's basically it. The whole Spain, the whole office and the academy team and all of that. So that was for sure the biggest thing. And that was just too hurtful for ego. It wasn't handleable.
The GM conversation is also an interesting one because me and Dom, we have gone back and forth many times at GMing in Europe. It's
terrible. The worst.
It's
horrible.
It's terrible. Horrible. Really, really bad. I think it was like that with the coaches in the past, but now coaching has gotten so much more serious. It's I have so much more respect for the peers that are in the roles, whether it's G2 coaching staff or like Mac and Pat. It's everyone's very serious about the job. It's something that generates, I think, something positive for the teams, because back when I was playing back in season 3, the coaches we had
even season 6, season 6, season 7, there was season 8, all of the seasons, earlier seasons were you would just hear, coaches perma getting replaced, perma new random people coming in. I don't know. It was very, very random.
They are glorified people that respond to the door when it rings and the food delivery is coming. It was fucking horrible. And it's the GM by extension, right? It's that role, the fact that we are at a point where you have to pretty much, they are relying on outside influence. None of the GMs that are acquiring players
they have no idea.
Always relying on outside influence, which is crazy to even fathom, right? Very, very insane.
And also what other people, outside, social media, and what other people say about you. They ask somebody behind the back, okay, what do you say? And this is okay, this is normal. You want to get some info on somebody, But the most of it, this is not just, RNA or Heretics specific. I think a lot of the teams are making the decisions based on Reddit or Twitter, that's just it,
I think that moves us on to the next thing I wanted to ask you about, because I've talked to you a decent amount. You were in the SAC during Worlds, and I could just tell from speaking to you that the community perception of you just annoys you. The way that you would feel you would say things oh man, if I miss this Ari Charm that he just missed at Worlds, I would be that's why he's the 10th best mid in the LEC. That's why he's fucking dog shit. How the community would just go in on you. So where do you think it kind of change the community perception? Because from the outside looking in, I really felt a difference pre and post that Cloud9 contract. Like when people heard that you were making, well, they said $11 million, but obviously part of it was a buyout. When the $11 million number started going out to the community, it felt like that was the moment where everyone was like, oh, well, now if he misplays one time, well, shit, he's not worth the fucking money. He's not worth that $6 million. That's not worth that 11 million, whatever the fucking number was back then. So was that what you felt as a player? Or like, where do you think everything really started becoming so negative around your career?
Good question. Very good, interesting question. I think good point has to be for sure with that as well. I mean, again, first thing, like, okay, I earned way less than that, yeah, right? I mean, still earned a shit ton. Let's be real, yeah, of course, you know.
Okay, bro, relax, bro.
I use my market value and my agent helped me as well, the absolute maximum in the peak of League of Legends. I am not ashamed of that. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. I am proud of that, you know. Like, I am proud of what I got paid, of what I was marketed as, of when I went to NA, I won a 5th split in a row without being, you know, these 3-week splits. I won 5 splits in a row. I went to MSI, I got all groups enrolled. Like, I think people just expected me that when I come back from C9 to Europe, that I'm going to win everything again. Because I have won everything in 5 years. And okay, we finished, you know, 3rd in NA summer split, but we should have won against 100 Thieves as well. It was like biggest fluke win ever. I don't care what anybody says. Biggest fluke win ever, 100 Thieves that year. Still, like, I'm expected, and this is fine. You know, it's okay. What people think, I don't mind it. But the problem is that influences a lot on like the GMs. You know, so like people expect me Insta to come back and like win the split. You know. And that's just not gonna always be possible, you know. And if anything, like just looking back in retrospective, I feel like my performance from 2022 spring up until 2023 summer, not including the summer, because we went 1-8 and we were shit, and I don't think I was playing very well. I think for that year and a half, I was playing really good. I actually really think so. I think I've been, you know, I can't say I was the best because I was shit at the scores, you know, but like. I've been top 4 mid the whole time, top 3, you know, top 3, top 4. I'm confident in that, you know, and then people who love stats, they can check the stats and the stats will prove it, you know. And we haven't made playoffs in summer that year, 2022. We haven't, we got 3rd in spring, but, you know, we stuck so hard in best of 5 against Med and BDS. That was about 2023, right? So the years with Vitality have just been so up and down, but we always ended down. That's the problem. Like even in 2022, we had times where we finished like, first in regular, we were like tied for first in regular season, and then we lost 5 games in a row and ended 7th was it? Sorry, 6th was playoff, so we ended 7th. And even with Vitality, you know, we ended first in regular season last year, and then we finished 3rd in spring, and it was like we've had times where we were strong and we were successful, you know, and then people expect us to do good. People expect me to do good, which is completely fair, you know. I don't deny that. I expect myself to do good as well, but it's like. Sometimes things just spin out of my control, and you can't always expect to get the best results. And also, like, there's a lot of luck involved, you know. There's a lot of luck involved. If you don't have the perfect structure like G2 does, I will say G2, I think, has perfect structure, or like, you know, they can always do things better, but like really good structure compared to any other teams. Like, you can't expect to have stable results, you know. You can't expect a stable improvement. A lot of things in Vitality that happened were completely random and out of control, and I don't want to talk about them because, you know, it's just like, I don't want to. It's not cool. It's not fair. But yeah, I will say that I don't think I've played the best last summer and this winter. So that's 2 splits. So that's like, 10 weeks of play. I don't think I played, 3 weeks in summer and 4 weeks in winter. 7 weeks of play. I don't think I performed the best. I will say that. I think, you know, now the hate is like justified, but still, you know, like if I read it, I'm like 10th LEC mid, or I'm not worth of LEC. I'm like, dude, like, I don't know, you know, like there is many players who don't think so, right? So it's like, and I know my own skill level or skill potential, or I know myself the best how I play. So it doesn't bother me, but everything that you mentioned is definitely, you know, valid point. And, just to jump back to that C9 thing, is like when I joined to C9, I should have, you know, in people's minds, I should have done everything. I should have won the summer split as well, and I should have been top 2 MSI or top 3 MSI at least, you know. So that was the thing, you know, like, but still, in all, that was a pretty successful year. At least looking back at the last 2 years, right? You know, So it's like it's the only Western team that got out of groups in the last 4 years as well at the Worlds. So there is like 3 years. But yeah, basically, yeah, I'm done with it now. I'm sorry, I don't know what I wanted to say. Yeah.
No good, no good. I agree that the C9 year, I think it was a successful one. I think everything that you were doing, I think was looked under the magnifying glass, and I could imagine that the reason was the big statement. You were the big move, you were the big player, because I think especially in that off season, without the conversation about money, it's like you were the big focus in that off season. There was the whole conversation about you can't go to Fnatic. That was a big discussion with the clause and so forth. Like you were a big focus point, and I think that everything that you did was looked through a magnifying glass in a different way. But I do agree that C9 year, I think, was quite the success. I wanted to ask you in terms of like the difference, because there's always a meme of the general manager Perkz, going to the pool, all this stuff, this is the meme always. I wanted to ask, since you mentioned like a lot of the aspects of competing, everything going right, there is a lot of luck, right? You commit to 5 players, like one player gets sick and all of a sudden your performance can shift. There's so much risk. It's like you can get hit by a car, anything can happen, meta can change, patch can change.
Sounding kind of personal here, Yamato, getting hit by a car and random stuff. Like,
happened to me twice, bro. Happened to me twice.
Yeah, we know.
What I wanted to ask you, Perkz, is in regards to your era ahead of course, the C9 and then coming back to EU, you were very, like G2 was very aggressive at acquiring like the competitors of the other teams. In terms of you shaping your roster, do you think that was a big part of you shaping your own luck in terms of making your success? Obviously, you are a very strong player, but
of course,
in terms of GM Perkz, how can you speak to it, and how much of a difference was it when you came back, of course, from C9?
Of course, I would say that I think I shaped my own luck in G2. Yeah, I think from the get-go, I think the lucky thing was winning the first split in 2016. Like I instantly wanted, Carlos helped a lot, I instantly wanted Zven and Mebdi. I knew we were not going to be good enough in the long term with the current roster. Then after Zven and Mebdi left, everyone left that year, 2018. I wanted the whole rebuild just so I can see how I can do under new players, under new team. And I think, I think we were pretty good. We were solid throughout the year, right? Obviously, Fnatic was better than us. But yeah, 2019, I definitely, pulled a move that was like very, very I guess crazy, and also a little bit of coin flip, but not really. In my mind, it was never coin flip, but in everyone's mind was like, what the hell is going on? And then after that, I've just been joining teams that I am joining, without much influence into what is happening, On Vitality though, I did want Carzzy, and I didn't want Alfari as well. And I like the team, but there were just some things that were like hard to work out, I guess. And yeah, so yeah, it's true. I think I had a good share of making my teams that also were good compatibility in personalities and good players, right? And yeah, for sure.
Was there ever like a method to it, or was it just like you playing with them in solo queue, seeing how they play when you play in the games, you got a feeling for it, one conversation? Because you come across as a very open person, right? It's like every time I've interacted with you, I met you first time, it was 2016, I think 2015 maybe. It was like in Cologne, you were sub for Dignitas, 2015, December.
Yeah.
I met you and Gilius for the first time. It's like you're very sociable. I think that you are very, very good at like connecting with people, is my impression. Is there anything, what's the magic sauce behind you judging a player and you considering them being great? Like,
I think it's a lot of eye check as well. Like for me, and it's obviously a skill that I guess I would say I have, is like, it's enough for me to watch, like, I'm like exaggerating a bit, but watching like 2 minutes of someone's stream, someone's gameplay, see how he clicks, how he trades, how he bases, like how he watches the minimap or pings, how many pings he uses, like all of these things, how he talks about it on stream. It's enough for me to say if this guy is good or not. Like actually. On top of that, like you can draw a lot about how a person is from his interviews. I will say that. I think that's also one thing. It's and also from when you speak to them, just like like in the streets, in the LEC studio, or like when you go to a bar or something. Like it's really easy to, for me at least, to like, I wouldn't say judge a person, but get a feel on how somebody could be like, could be like, right? And I would say I had a pretty decent idea of, even when I was joining teams, besides Boy and Fortnite, I didn't know much about, right? But like with all the Europeans, I had a pretty decent idea of how someone would be like. I wasn't never like, there's been things where I've been, surprised a bit, but I had an idea, I had an idea of how it was going to be. And so maybe that's, that's like one thing where I guess I've maybe a slightly more naturally gifted with it, the social aspect, or however you want to call it. But yeah, it's nothing like, it's not like I'm judging somebody or I'm doing this or that. No, I'm just like, I'm going over off my own in the how is it called? Intuition, yeah, off my own intuition, yeah.
We always have this meme that we say on the live views. We say this guy has no ambition in the way he plays.
Yeah, he has no ambition.
It's like you can feel people's ambition in the way they speak.
Yeah,
and what they
yeah. Or like when somebody, for example, like now, like watching Jackie's play, like I would just say, I actually don't think he's that good right now. I think he's had a good summer split, but I played against him a lot and in scrims and on stage. But I think he can be very good. Like he can actually be very good, and I like him. I like the way he plays. I just like the way he plays. He has balls. He has balls, and I like the way he plays. And I think he's probably maybe I would say the best talent that's come in Milan since like Humanoid Larsen era, right? Like like Nemesis, Humanoid Larsen when they joined that year 2020 or something. Like since that time, it's been like I think he's the best Milan talent that we had in Europe, basically.
Yeah, I think. The thing about Jack is that I really like is it feels like he's willing to make the plays that will win or lose the game when he feels that it's necessary.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like that was.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
No, I just wanted to add he takes the game into his own hands. And I actually like that. Like, for example, that Zeri Morgana draft game 5 with Tank Top and Ashe ADC.
Flashes in.
Like, just basically they put all the eggs into Jackie's basket, and it worked out, so.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that is something that was always a quality that you had, and maybe that's why you admired so much in him. And also, I feel like these are the type of players that Reddit just turns on really quick. When they're playing well, it's like, oh my god, Jackie's is the fucking GOAT. And then when he runs it down one time trying to like win a game that looks like it's gonna be lost, that's when.
I mean, it's similar with really Caps. There was Caps when he came in. Literally, Caps when he came in. It's just like Caps is such an accomplished player. And he's so great and so much international success that, when he has a bad game, they're still like craps, but it's like he has so much success, even in the last 2 years, you cannot flame him. Like you don't have like a basis to flame him. Like he just wins, he just, G2 just wins. He just performs. So it's like, you can't flame somebody that's winning. That's why when I was winning, even though I was playing the same way and I was doing the same shit mistakes and I was doing the same good plays, I was just praised a lot more. It's same. I mean, look at Faker, for example. Faker plays good MSI, or he plays bad MSI. Oh my god, Faker should retire. He's the worst player ever. His team sucks without him. He comes back. Oh my god, Faker is the fucking god. His team is completely useless without him. It's like, it's just two extreme examples of a spectrum, I guess. Yeah.
Referencing back to our conversation about like GMs, it's like, I think when you have experience watching a lot of solo queue script, I think you have an eye for plays, because I think we're all in agreement. It's like a player with ambition is looking to squeeze that tethering. They are not looking to just coast in the game. And that's what I think the biggest difference between the fake rookies that are being signed, right? It's like a player.
Frescowi, just call them out, bro. Zwyru, Frescowi, just call them out, bro.
Frescowi, there's one more. Like, I think Saken to some degree also was suffering from this too, Like you are dominating ERL, but you can get away with so much more. It's like sometimes just getting your CS and awaiting mistakes can win you so many games. And you come into the league and then you're playing without like ambition. It's like you just play without ambition. It's like you're looking to coast and you're looking for like the game to kind of play itself out without you interacting with it. There is nothing that you tune into, that you don't tune into what the lanes show, you don't tune into the game state, you don't recognize opportunities and odds to win. And I think that's something that is really, really missing. And I think that's where people get it twisted in terms of who is a rookie and who isn't, because like for the love of God, we can't call players that have played in the ERL for 6-7 years fucking rookies. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That was literally my entire career, bro. Like,
yeah.
7 years. Like, what the fuck?
I think that's actually, I've been speaking with actually Mika about it, and I was having this thought. So like, it's maybe like, even though LFL national leagues is great, like it should be great, it feels like there is less hunger. Like players that are playing there are less hungry to go to LEC and actually bite, compared to the previous days, compared to when I was in Challenger Series getting $100 a month, you know, like, or, you know, cups coming from solo queue, from DP straight into Fnatic, you know, like, it's like these players in the LFL, they can get up to even 10,000 euros a month, maybe some even more, which is a crazy amount if you ask me. For like, I think the whole, you know, rising of salaries, going to national leagues as well. Like, I mean, I heard, you know, like even like second division, you can get like 1 or 2K. You can get like a average, more than average Croatian salary playing in like a second league or of like NLC or something. I'm like, guys, you know, how is this possible? You know, so people are just content with like earning a salary, earning money. Like, I feel like at least way more than they were back in the days. Back in the days, like, you're grinding the ladder, you're performing good every single game. You have maybe a Challenger Series, and you're like, you have your show there, and it's like 10 games or 12 games or something, which you have to perform for people to notice you. This you have like whole split, you know. That's why we only see basically most of the times we see like EU Masters winners going into the LEC. That's like, it feels like the only legit way to get into LEC is to win EU Masters and you'll get an offer, unless somebody actually has an eye, you know, like somebody has an eye for someone, you know, like, I don't know, getting Linkas, I think, is a good option. I think Linkas is going to be good, you know, or like, I'm not sure which members. I think Jackis was a good flip. Like, here, I'm going to say it, you know, I think he was spotted from Czech scene or something, and he was a good flip. Like, so there is like some examples where I might have forgot some rookies now, but for example, I think Yike won. He won Masters, no? He won EU Masters.
Yeah.
Or something, but basically most of the players that came in have won EU Masters, and it feels like the only legit way, you know, is like, oh, you have the hunger, you got to win a EU Masters, you know. So it's like it feels a bit harder, and also a little bit less likely you get the rookie that really bites. Yeah, just my perspective. I could be wrong. I could not be correct on this. I don't have much insight into the national leagues ecosystem or their teams, but yeah, a feeling I got.
I think that one thing I've noticed is that players that are playing in ERL or players that are out of LEC have this issue with LEC because of the GMing that makes them feel like less motivated as well. I think the GMing issue also plays into this, where people like don't really know how people are scouted. Also, like, the churn of rookies is fucking insane. If you think about just the last 3 years, like, how many random rookies have we seen that have came from like LFL or LVP and they just play one split and they're gone, and then you just never hear from them again? Like, it just seems like that is such a common trend.
That is
within,
true as well.
the LEC right now.
We have really lack of like developed rookies. Like, we really lack developed rookies. Like the rookies, like, for example, Humanoid, Larson, Nemesis, I guess, that came in at that time. You know, like, we lack that so much, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people, they just are expected, like they don't actually get developed in LEC anymore. It feels like everyone just gets a chance, and then if they perform really well, then they stay, and if not, they're gone. It doesn't feel like there's that many players that actually get the time to develop their game within the LEC. They're scouted, like, for example, I'm thinking of like Jack Spectre, for example, somebody who comes in, like, he has had a lot of success, he had a lot of hype. I believe he did win EU Masters, didn't he, with the Heretics lineup? Yeah, so he wins. Yeah. He wins in EU Masters, and then when he comes in, he gets 2 splits with a clearly dysfunctional team, and that's it. You know, like, a year has passed, he's still not being heard from again. So I think that's definitely an issue. A player that I wanted to ask both of you guys about that I thought would be interesting to talk about is actually Bo, because you both worked with him, and this is a player that you both spoke extremely highly of. You know, I remember there was a quote that went like viral on Reddit of you, Perkz, where you're saying like, oh, this is the generational talent that's gonna break the game, like something like this. And every time I spoke to Yamato,
He is.
I also heard the
It's a
same thing.
fact. He is.
And I also
But-
co-signed this player a lot. So I wanted to hear
But
from
you
both
can
your
you,
guys'
can- you can
perspectives.
you can
like,
take this Yamato because like it's better if you take
Sure.
it. I think.
yeah, Yamato. Yamato.
Yeah.
Tell us what
Like,
you think is the issue with
before-
Bo.
Bro, like before I even worked with Bo, like just watching his pro view was mind-boggling. It was mind-boggling. It's like when playing AD or whatever. It's like for me,
Yeah, he's
Just-
like better AD than like I don't know so many AD carries in Europe. By the way, it's crazy.
it's just raw mechanical talent and instinct for fighting. I have never seen anything like it. And I think usually it's like, at least in my mind, when you measure a player, it's like I cannot help a player reach some crazy new mechanical ceiling. It's like you can maybe break down some matchups like, oh, you should trade like this, but it's like how they tether, how they use their abilities, how they instinctively play situations based off of like real-time information. It's like how you fucking click. Exactly. It's like how the fuck am I supposed to sit and teach that? It's like you can to some degree, but not for the best of the fucking best. And Bo is so extremely sharp. Like he could play 1v1s against any of the other players, and he could be good fucking practice because he could lock in Jace and just be fucking insane. And just that level of mechanical skill, I think, is something that I personally never saw before. Like to have access to that in Europe, it just felt like such a fucking opportunity. And it's like to make it work. It's like I think at least on our side in KC, I think just Targamas and Bo, in terms of how they work, it just wasn't compatible at all. It's like, I think, especially when it comes to mid lane, support, jungle, you need someone that is capable of taking clear charge of what is supposed to happen next. Especially like for Bo, when was the most successful in FPX, it's like he was surrounded by fucking world champions. He had Doinby mid, he had fucking Crisp, he had Nuguri and fucking LWX at the time.
Yeah, we don't talk about that guy anymore. He's done. That guy
is
is
completely fucking done.
Yeah, he's
like,
fucking washed. Jesus.
Just whenever our biggest issue, right, in KC was the fact that we could never get good fights. We couldn't get the setup for the fights. So the fights that we took were so desperate and we just like kind of took fights like this because eventually we just realized that we're bleeding. And so we could never set up the fights. And I think we just needed someone capable of doing like dirty work, like dirty work from the support role, dirty work from the mid lane role, just to cover up for the fact of what Bo could be. And then sometimes you're also warped by the meta because even though I watch Vitalis from outside and I saw, they tried first game, they went Lucian, Milio, Kindred, and then they have Ahri mid and Gwen. It's like, damn, they're going carries everywhere. Okay, let's see how this works out. They're just letting the players rock and roll. And then that game happened, lost, and all of a sudden, Kaiser midi support, Sejuani jungle, we need to fucking get some wins, BO1s. And I think the format doesn't lend you to like that idea of exploration. And I think if we had more time, I truly believe if I had more time with Bo and also with Tagamas and with this roster, I think it would work out. Because I was aware of the fact in the beginning we would be shit. We would be shit. It would like come down to so many RNG elements. And I think that eventually, at least on my end with working with Bo, for him, when he notices that he can't get what he wants to get from teammates, I think it like drains him. And then slowly he'll put in less effort. And slowly when he doesn't see teammates are giving as much as he believes should give, I think that weighs heavy on him, And you need to keep pushing him. I think what I liked about Bo was that when you pushed him, he did react well. Like he's like, I was like, Bo, you need to fucking get your shit together. Play fucking solo queue right now. He's like, okay, sorry. Then you just fucking
Actually, I agree with that, yeah. Yeah,
I thought that was so fucking basic, It's like working with Korean and Chinese players that you can pull that card without any bullshit is really my favorite aspect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you try to pull that with an NA pro, they start telling, but I'm getting worse from playing solo queue. It's like, shut the fuck up. You're not getting worse from playing solo queue. Like, it's just such a cope. It's like you look at the players that are successful in NA, like Impact, for example. That guy is always grinding solo queue. He's always at the top of the North American solo queue ladder, and he always maintains some level of consistent performance. Like, if you play solo queue and you're trying to get something out of it, like you can play it for yourself. You don't have to be you don't have to win every single game or something, but the idea that you're actually hurting yourself so much by playing solo queue, I've never fucked with that idea in general.
Bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see it, but fucking TL is max ranked. No, go ahead, Dom.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, what I was gonna throw in here about this Bo topic is like, do you think that it's just what you said with, the players he was surrounded by, and maybe like him losing some motivation, or was there an element of him having to like have this shot calling role within the team? Because I was watching all the KC voice comms, and man, this guy is like talking perma, and the whole meme was that Targamas never said a word, right? Everyone was like, oh shit, the support is mute. Nice, he's playing Sona like IRL or some shit. Everyone was just talking about how Targamas wouldn't say a word, and Bo is perma talking in his second language. Do you think that this was like an issue, or do you think that it was fine? Like it didn't really drain him that much to talk or be the one that's setting up all the plans and trying to call every single fight?
Yeah, for sure drained him.
The go
Yeah, I just say that. No, you say,
because he's heard my side of the Casey side.
No, I mean,
what happened to Vitality? Why did he go work in Vitality?
I've had talks with him, and it's like he basically just told me in FPX, DOMB and LWX would just micromanage me. They would just say where to be, what to do. I'll be there and I'll fight. Like he's perfect jungle clearing, perfect fighting, perfect mechanics. Like
best hands you'll ever see on a jungler.
Like just straight up, And it's like I will say one thing with luck and unlike what I was mentioning before is like just imagine this current meta of that is being played right now for last year's summer Vitality. Brand, Nidalee, Lilia, Zyra, AD carry mids, tank support. Like just think about this for a team that was our team last year. Like I will, no joke, I will 100% sure will be like first in LEC. Like not even coping right now, 100% with AD carry meta being Kai'Sa, Ezreal, Zeri, like all the best after champs as well. Like it's like Lucia mid, Corki mid, like all of the champs that are being played is like I'm really good at them. Bo is really good and absolutely good at them. So I'm just thinking you place that Vitality team in this current meta, and we are at least top 2 LEC, like insta, from just the champions that are being played. And it's like when you're stuck on playing Sejuani, Maokai, and Vi the whole year, and it's obviously not working out for you, and you still have to keep doing it, you just go into this loop where you're just completely boomed, because it's like it wasn't his style, it didn't fit, and having to take that role of, like not being led what exactly to do. I mean, I was trying to, but it's like it's also his English got better, but when we first played, it wasn't like I would say some things, and sometimes like Bo and Photon just wouldn't understand, what I mean, or like I would die on a side when I thought I was getting cover. I'm like, can you hover for this way? And he's like, yeah. And then I see the camp, and then it's like I'm dead, because it's like we are just getting like. But in all, I actually really enjoyed playing with Bo. It's just I think. The other factor is just like the life factor. I think he didn't take very, very well care of himself, and I think that's something that's been lacking as a professional in that sense. But that's just it. I think maybe he needed some help with that. That's it.
I think that something that I can add as well is that I think for players that come out of China and also Korea, right? I think they are so used to be surrounded by people perma. It's like in China, they always just sit in the same room perma. It's very limited, very simple. And you have such a level of pressure on you.
It's very strict. It's very strict.
Yeah.
Like he told me, we have to be in that room, until 3 a.m. play solo, It's like here, you go after streams, 8, kaput,
like fucking Steak told me, every issue, you solve it through grinding. You play like shit, you grind. You're angry, you grind. You're tired, you grind. Every problem you have in China, you solve it through grinding. And everyone did it in the same room. It's like, Steak was like, he asked me one day, he's like, how high rank do you think Cabo and Saken can get in Targamas? I'm like, I know Upsa can get high rank, Targamas can get high rank. Cabo usually like mingles between Master and GM, sometimes he gets higher. Saken is like GM into Challenger. He's like, whenever players in China play bad, they just get high rank. When Knight plays bad, they get high rank. So I want our players to have high rank. I was like, that's pretty straightforward. They just need to fucking grind more. I like that. And I think when you have, especially in LEC, I think it's very common like people go home, they have their own apartments. And then like some of the players, especially like the imports, they get left behind in the gaming room. And I think when they lack that pressure, that fucking influence of like the keyboards clicking and the energy being in the room, I think that is an opportunity to be, let's say, wild.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to pivot because it's like, Perkz, you've played against all of the legendary mid laners, over your time. It's like you've competed against the best at their best. And I'm curious because it's like me and Dom, we will watch fucking LPL all day. We see like the old school legends like Rookie, Zhao, and so forth. I wanted to ask you specifically in terms of like your own personal resistance in terms of like playing against all of the legendary mid laners. What were the ones that stood out to you in terms of the conversation of who are your biggest like opponents? What stands out? Who taught you the most? Who challenged you the most? Who do you look up to in that sense? It's like in terms of all of the big names that come to mind in, let's say, the top 5 GOAT mid lane conversation of all the people you faced in your career.
I think who I learned the most from, obviously Faker. I was a really big Faker fanboy for my first few years of career. Like I was basically even copy the champions that he played. Like sometimes I would even like watch LCK in the morning, and then if Faker played a champion, let's say Orianna, and Orianna was like one of my 5 champs I would play, I would just pick Orianna today because Faker played it, and I would like have like a buff, like thinking, oh, this champ is for sure broken because Faker played it. That was like my first and second year. And then I think the one that was the best, I think, I mean, because I lost to Rookie, in a world that was definitely winnable. I think Rookie's Jace was like the one time where I actually, from laning mid lane, I'm just saying from laning mid lane, because bot lane, you could have it more rough, but like mid lane, usually go even win or you die to ganks. But that time I actually couldn't do anything. That lane, like I didn't know how to play it. He obviously cheesed me as well because they prepared for that matchup, and Jace was actually low-key broken. So they just knew a pick that was OP and nobody else knew it. Like we usually did in G2 next year. And that was the one time that was like for sure the hardest for me to lane, but the matchup was shit as well. I think the other 2 games I had a way better time as well. But I think an underrated one is Showmaker because I played against him quite a bit in C9. I think Showmaker is always in the contention for the best mid in LCK, but people always somehow end up putting him behind Chovy or Faker or something. And I think for those years where Damon was dominant, I actually think Showmaker was so insane, and I think he offered to his team more than any other mid laner in the world did. I think he's often underrated for that as well because he's so versatile at what he can play as well. So I would definitely, and I've never actually played against Chovy in official game. And I watched League, right? So I think the last year and a half, 2, obviously, I think there is no one as good as Chovy. I think he's just reached like a new level of the game, and that's very impressive. Like I'm generally, if I were to play right now, is like if I were to play against Chovy right now at this Worlds that's coming up, I would be like, if I go even against Chovy, it's like a win for me. It's like, and for every other player I would face, I would be looking to beat them, I would be looking to get a win or outplay or something, But like, I generally because I watch a lot of his streams. Like, it's not just from like even competitive. Like, he plays so well in solo queue as well. He's just actually, I think, as close to a perfect player that you get in League, like straight up as a mid laner, And just about Chovy. Like, he actually just is that good, and I think. From the modern, if you compare it, like back in the days in season 5, 6, like Faker was insane, and he was maybe even like better than the opposition compared to like Chovy now. But because the game has evolved so much, I would say that Chovy is like way scarier opponent than Faker ever was.
He's the best individual. He's hitting the highest individual level we've ever seen.
Yeah, I feel like Chovy, like Faker, you could even beat back then. He would have off games. Like, it feels like Chovy maybe has like one off game in like 20 games. One game where he goes like 0-5 with Yone or something, but like he plays so well. But even Chovy has off games. Remember that, Reddit? Even Chovy has it. Yep. Even Chovy sometimes fucks up a Zir dash or Tristana.
All I'm saying is my boy Cream,
perfection as possible, yeah.
My boy Cream kind of fucked up Chovy at that EWC. Just saying. I'm not saying he's better.
Fraud event.
Fraud event. Exactly the future, I'm telling you. You guys are gonna see. On the Chovy point, like I got to play with him when he was in NA because he like Worlds 2022. And the thing that was so crazy is like normally when I'm playing solo queue, I I don't really feel like my mid laner really knows what I'm doing most of the time. But like the thing that was so crazy about playing with Chovy is like his game awareness, because you think about him as this like dominant laner. Everyone talks about like, oh, his laning is perfect CS, like he never misses a minion, and they kind of disrespect his ability to read the map. And I feel like in the last few years, this guy has become so insane at his ability to like read the map and know what's going on, and he'll make the desperation plays. Like it doesn't even feel like he has flaws to his game really. When he was on that run in Spring Split, playing that Aurelion Soul and all this stuff. I mean, each game it just felt like the whole, like no matter what happened, you had to beat Chovy. Like Chovy would just be the final boss of every single game.
Yeah.
And maybe you'd kill him late game, and it would be something else. Yamato, if you don't want to ask, if you don't have anything right now, I have one question for Perkz coming off the Carzzy interview that Carzzy did with Thorin. I don't know, did you actually see the interview, Perkz? The Carzzy interview? I didn't. So he talks a lot about Vitality, he talks a lot about his career, but he specifically talks about you being the coach of Vitality. Like he literally says that you were essentially the head coach of Vitality when he played for Vitality. Like the reviews all went through you. Like you would be the one sitting down with the replay, going through it, telling everyone what they needed to do. And that was one thing that was a harm to your team, is that you had to work as a player and a coach, and you had to like be accountable for your own mistakes, but you're like the one that is actually kind of like criticizing the team and giving direction to the team. How much of this is true? Were you just like the coach of Vitality during that period?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't even think about it much, but I was, yeah. I kind of was, yeah. We had like a few stuff, but like I will not say that they weren't, doing stuff, but it was just like the game knowledge was like not there, and it's like I felt like I had to do a lot, and maybe I didn't, maybe again, but I didn't have to. I mean, there was like another issue that Vitality had that summer, and there was like a bit of like mental booming happening, but I'm gonna fast forward to that. I think the whole year was just like was a lot of burden on me for sure. I think it was, yeah. I think it was a lot of burden on me, and I think it was also like it was a lot on like everyone in the team, like sometimes people were just like not focusing on the team play part of things, and it was also like actually that's like one more thing I regret about my career, and I'll just be straight up honest about it. Like at the end of the year, I was asked, again, if like I want to keep the team or not, and I at that point, that was my first time ever I missed playoffs. I finished 7th, and we went on that 5-game losing streak, and it felt like a lot throughout the year. A lot of the members on the team weren't giving their hardest. Felt like that to me, and I was literally just rage saying like, just boom the whole team, just get legit for new players, new coach and stuff. Everyone just legit boom the whole team, because it was very disappointing to me. It was my first time I actually felt like I failed. 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. I felt like I failed first time in my whole career in my 7 years of playing. And I was like great saying I boomed the whole team. And, I really regret not like asking to keep Carzzy, because like I think he is very good. And I always thought he was very good. I just thought he had like it felt like he had like motivational issues that year, but he had, some problems that I'm not going to obviously discuss, right? But like it felt like he had a motivational issues, and he was just like playing for 2 years. So to me, like if you're a rookie who has a motivational issues, and you're like to me, it's just like, yeah, I need to get someone who's hungrier, I need to get someone who's hungrier, But looking at, I always liked how he plays, and I'm like, that's just basically it, like I regret not asking to keep Carzzy and then rebuild around me and him, basically, yeah. But yeah.
So back to your previous point, right? It's like it's crazy how, because I was on the other end of that. It's like we had our game right, and that game was like a 60-minute banger with the Zeri Lulu, right? And it's so
like
close.
70 minutes, yeah.
Even that long, it felt like
I think so, yeah.
From backstage.
Yeah.
Because that was also, it's like one different thing. It's like maybe Lavrov doesn't walk forward to keep Zeri passive or something silly like that. Like the polymorph is like they're so limited, and then all of a sudden.
I mean, that was the game we needed to go playoff. That was the game we needed. Like, yeah.
It was a complete banger game, right? It's like,
I mean, actually, we needed one of the 5. We just needed one of the 5, and we lost all 5. We were legit like 9 and 6, and then finished like, I don't know what we finished.
Tiebreakers, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's mental. Everything like just hangs on a knife's edge because we could have not gone to Worlds. We could have just been boomed, and that probably maybe my career would end. It's like imagine not going playoffs in Fnatic. It's like my career would just be over. It would be GG.
Actually, yeah. You see, that's like the things about those inches of luck and unluck. What happened, and for all the luck I've had in the beginning of my career, I feel like I've been getting struck back the last 2 years pretty hard. Like, like if you guys watched, the first my finals of 2016 against Origin, like there's been so much luck in this. We stole Baron 2 times. Emperor stole Baron with Caitlyn's Rune and Hurricane. He stole Baron with a fucking Hurricane proc, bro. Next game Trix, Destin and Smite did as well, and then I killed Xpeka because he missed time Zonia by like 0.01 seconds with Zedult. Like it's like so many things that happen, in those series that like give us the edge and make us win, and then the whole career snowballs off that. Like legit of that luck in that finals, my whole career snowballed.
Yeah.
So there is there is a lot of luck involved, but you can be a part of making it, as well. But sometimes things happen within the team that are just so out of control, and you cannot obviously share them and be public about it because it's just not fair. It's just not cool, and it's not all right.
It's like we've seen so many players, right, that like won LEC and then they get replaced and then they just nothing. It's like they just happen to be a part of a ride and then they do nothing with it. It's like there's definitely been cases of like extreme luck and no momentum gained from it. It's like just career over after winning a split. We've seen that many times.
You can even look at Targamas, right? Like that first year in G2. I mean, obviously he had that like split in Giants, like in 2017 or something. But when he won in 2022, everyone was rating him best support in the region. After Winter Split, he's benched. After Winter Split 2023, he's benched. And, it wasn't until this split that he had any semblance of success since then. So, I mean, I definitely see that. I mean, look, there's a lot of luck in careers, man. Like you could always just get banned after your rookie year, and then everything goes downhill. So, I know you have a question to ask Yamato, so I fully agree, Perkz. I fully agree.
I wanted to ask you because we already talked about like a bunch of mid laners. We talked about like how to judge if a player like is going to become great through the intention of how they play. I'm curious because me and Dom, we often criticize the state of LEC and from outside, it's like something that we've said many times is like Perkz is looking better by not playing. Like players that are not playing are beginning to look better.
That's what I started to think as well, legit. Like after watching LEC as a caster this week, I feel like, wow, my stocks are rising. Like, I'm back, boys.
It's so true. It's so true. No, Jizuke always says he's like all 10 players in this game are losing value. Whenever there's a fucking banger game,
that's
like
a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
BDS versus Giant X, like this last week. I guess Jackie's wasn't losing value, but you get the point.
No, it's like I'm curious, folks. Where's your head at in terms of the level of LEC, bro?
So as a newly found caster and analyst desk enjoyer, like I had the pleasure of casting the game for 10 minutes and I was set up for failure this time around because I was with Shox and UillDominate. Like no offense, but like I was set up for failure. Like having to like play by play what I'm watching on my screen, I was just through my mind is like, this guy's boosted. Wait, what? What he just flashed? What he just flashed in? What the fuck is he doing? Like, what is going on? He's like, wait, he's trolling. He's like, there's like so many things happening through my head that I'm like, you can't like talk about this. This is like, it's some things that are like, I don't know what happened, like, I don't know what actually happened to the level. I think that all goes back to the beginning of the video with the GMs and the team building and players that are being selected. It doesn't even matter their individual skill. It matters how they're going to be compatible with the rest of the team, like, and I mean, the individual skill also matters, but like, it's like if you have a, let's say, 8 out of 10 player with another 8 out of 10 player, but like the play style and the compatibility is like 2 out of 10, you're going to be a dog shit team, like you can have a 8 out of 10 player with a 4 out of 10 player and the compatibility can be way higher, and they can have like be really, really good team, right? So, yeah, I think that is very true. I don't know how to impact that. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. I don't know what do you guys think happened with the LEC, but the fact that when G2 won that one series against TES, it felt like Europe won Worlds, because We didn't win a BO5 in like 4 years besides
4
this
years.
MSI. So even I think game outside of groups. I think it was like Vest hasn't even won a game outside of groups since like G2 beat TS. Basically, like after the group stage was over, the Vest hasn't won a game in like so long. That's like an insane stat, you know. An insane stat. But I think people are just like, you know, riding the success of G2 from 2018, 19, 20. Because if you look back at the years before, it was also like Europe was also dog shit, you know. Like Europe was
They made semifinals in 2016 after
Yeah,
beating
that's true.
Albus Nox Luna.
Albus Nox Luna.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. We gave them G2 gave H2K semifinals. We gave forgiven success. Yeah, we gave forgiven success.
My follow up to this, right? It's like in terms of I'm getting the energy, bro. That Perkz, you are far from done. I get ambition from your feeling. Like, what's the future of Mr. Perkz? What's happening, Perkz?
Again, another solid question. I would say that I don't know fully yet.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know fully yet. This winter has obviously kind of bombed my motivation, and also when you're not competing for so long, you don't really have the will to play. But you know, now actually I've gotten really big urge to play. I streamed a few days ago and I was like playing Aurora and Zed, you know, for fun, but I'm having fun. And I played this game for like 12, 13 years and I'm still having fun. So it's like, obviously there's like, it was a sign that I still enjoy it. And I very much enjoy the grind and the competitiveness. But back to what I mentioned is like, having experienced this winter split and how badly, in what kind of a shithole I went in, is like, I don't think I will do this ever again, you know? Like, I don't think there is a chance where I join a team where, where I'm so, let's say, not happy with, you know? Or like the org, you can say the org or whatever, you know? It's like, for me to join a team, there will need to be some, like, obviously, you know, the money doesn't matter because the salaries have gone down a lot, and you know, Riot even cutting budgets for next year. But it's like it's more about the process and the whole, how is it called? The whole group of people that I want to work with. You know, I want to work with the staff that I believe in, and they believe in me, and they also trust me. I don't have to have control. I just need to have some sort of influence on the team with the way I view the game, you know, and the way I've had success in the past, right? I'm also capable of adapting, but not just blindly listening to like troll fucking drafts or something along those lines, you know? Like, I'm not gonna obey like, you know, like a dog, you know? I'm always gonna be challenging and thinking how to be better and how to get ahead. And so yeah, I figured like I also really want to work with at least one rookie. You know, more is fine as well, but it needs to be like at least one rookie on the team that has this hunger of, and that's, I'm speaking about a rookie that's like 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Like, just like, let's leave it at that, you know, because when I was a rookie back then, all the kids were 16 and 17, you know, the rookies were young. I want to have somebody who is young and hungry, you know, and I think that spreads. I think that spreads on the rest of the team as well. Plus, it's a lot easier for younger players, I realized, to like buy into the team culture or adapt or even like take things from buy in on one direction, let's say. It's easier for younger players to buy in on one direction than having like 5 veterans having to find their way together. That's like a bit from this year as well, you know, but also from like a year before, 2020, like some things, you know, I'm taking in. And then again, it's going to have to be a roster that, you know, I believe in as well. And on top of that, my market value obviously isn't very high after the last 2 splits. So it's like, am I going to get all these conditions met with the fact that I disregard the salary? Because, you know, I'm looking to compete and to get some sort of, you know, hope for success. I would say it's hope for success. Will somebody be able to offer me that? Will somebody want me? Will this be a possibility? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm planning on grinding League in September when it gets to, when Worlds players are coming in. And it's honestly great that the Worlds is in Europe because, I'm going to get actually really good practice. And I haven't grinded the last few months because, if you have to play for next January, you're like I'm not a streamer. I'm not a everyday streamer. So I'm not going to I'm not gonna get the fulfillment of that, as much as maybe someone let's say Nemesis would, right? And then I more grind for the sake of the competitiveness of it, for the sake of being a team, and then I grind so that I can be a good player in my team, that I can influence the team, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grind in September and see if somebody will offer me these things that I will. This is basically it. So. What you mentioned before is I didn't know if I wanted to retire or not retire, but I still don't know if I'm gonna play next year or not play next year.
Yeah.
But this is sort of a plan in my mind that I want to see if it's possible, but I'm not set in stone on I have to play. It's if I don't get what I want, I will just step back. It's that's fine. But I think I still have a lot to offer. But if I don't, it's life, I'll move on.
Yeah. No, on my end, I think that's extremely relatable because I thought KC would be the team where I could fulfill those conditions in a way. And I think when people ask me that same question, it's are you retired? It's if the right opportunity comes along, I understand that my conditions are very extreme. And if that never comes, I accept that. I got 10th place in my last split. That's okay. But I'm not willing to deal with all of the fucking bullshit. It's we have gone past that portion of our career, and I can relate to that so much,
Yeah, well, you've been in esports since the very beginning, so you've been even longer than me in the scene. So you definitely have seen it all and seen a lot of things, and I've been in a lot of teams, and I completely understand you for one. There's not gonna be many players to do, but yeah.
Perkz, I was very, very upset with the fact that the community perception of this, on my end, you are one of the most legendary European players. I know Dom thinks the same way. I think anyone that is reasonable about the game knows how much of a fucking impact you have competing against you in all of those years. It's you were always the fucking player to beat, and I think that you made a lot of players around you fucking better too. I think it's looking at all of the players that you surrounded yourself with. I know how much of an impact Mythi had on you, and then how you spread that onto. It's how much better Wunder became as a player working in a team with you when he joined G2. Because I remember back in 2017, he asked me, it's G2 wanted me, should I go? I was brother, I think I want to keep you, but for you, I think it's good. But he's okay, I'm going to stay with the Danish boys. And then eventually went to G2.
And that was 2016, yeah. That was 2016, yeah.
2016 to 2017,
yeah.
Right? It's we went for another run, but it was a mistake. The wounds were very, very deep. But
yeah.
To continue, I think that your impact on Europe and Western League of Legends is, I think it can't even be measured. And I think that you deserve that fucking respect. And for me, it makes me very happy to hear that you still have ambition to fucking compete. So I wanted to lay you up for this moment because now we've kept you for 1.5 hours. Is there something that you would like to add, something that we didn't cover? Is there something that you want to throw in? Maybe Dom as well? Final questions? So we can let Perkz go back to the grind because I want to see him compete now. I want him to have the opportunity with the right conditions.
Oh, wait, guys. I still have some vacations left.
Oh, okay. All right.
I still have some vacations left before my grind. I said September, bro. I haven't had enough free time yet, bro. Let me have my free time.
Okay. Sorry.
I mean, if you're good, I'm good. Perkz.
No, I want to thank you guys for inviting me. It was nice to, vent a bit. It was nice to vent, speak to you guys, to talk about in general modern league and the issues we're facing. I think we didn't even address maybe the issues of league sustainability in the long term. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. Maybe that would be the last topic I would point. What do you guys think about that as people who've been in it for longer than me? Because, with their salary cuts, they're coming from Riot again. And that's from the money that Riot is offering to the teams is I also think the viewership would have gone down if it wasn't for such a huge hype of Casey and Metcoy. I think the viewership went overall up by like 10% or something, but like
20%. It's insanely fake though. Like I think this is one of the biggest issues I have is if you allow co-streaming. They did the same thing with LCS. If you allow co-streaming to new people, right? Maybe Cadrill's viewership would go back to the mainstream because he's English speaking, but Ibai is somebody who is literally putting on events personally that get like 3.7 million viewers, and then now you have him co-streaming your league, and the viewership went up by 20%. And if you look at like the viewership, the games that are the most watched, yeah. And if you look at the viewership and where it's coming from, the most watched games are like Mad games and KC games. Like that's where you're getting actually the most viewership, which is not indicative of the strength of the league. And if Ibai and Kameto were to leave, then the viewership is not coming back. If they're no longer in the LEC, you're not retaining any of that. So I think that's
maybe like 10% of those people watching because of them would like stay for the LEC. Maybe 10%.
Yeah. I think for me it's really simple. Like if you look at every single sport has gambling sponsors now. You look at any type of jersey. If you watch football in Europe, if you watch basketball, it's all over the court. The thing is, esports viewers do not pay money to watch esports. They want everything for free. They want this show for free. They want everything for free. And if they're not willing to spend money, you even look at G2, for example, their merch sales are like 1% of their overall revenue for a year. Like it's almost nothing. And they're one of the most popular teams, right? They are like the team in LEC as well. If the viewers want everything for free, then the money has to come from somewhere, which means that Saudi Arabia is getting involved.
Saudi Arabia has to be.
Saudi Arabia is getting involved. I mean, international, like they're like, hey, the Olympics are coming to esports. And then it's so funny that he says that. They're like, what's the vote? Okay, and thank you. And then they just have like a Saudi guy right there. It's like, and I appreciate it. We'll be taking it from here. Like first esports Olympics match in Saudi Arabia next year. So it is what it is. If people don't want to pay money for the product, that means that the product is fucking shit, like probably, or the money has to come from somewhere. Like if no one's willing to pay, if you're not willing to pay $5, $10 to watch esports, and it's a huge part of your life, and you spend hours, maybe even hundreds of hours a month, and it's still not worth any amount of money for you, then maybe it's just shit and it deserves to die. And if you wanted to continue, you can't also moral high ground all these other places. Like I took a gambling sponsorship 2 years ago. It took me a while where I was like, oh, should I do this or not? Like weighing the morals, and it's like, at some point, you have to accept the sponsorship from the people that actually want to spend money, because the other sponsors are just not getting their value. If they are a sponsor of a team, they're getting
the money from the viewers or the fans, right?
Yeah. So it's I think it's a really simple problem. Like you have to take the money from the places that are actually willing to give it. What do you think about it?
What do you think about?
What were you going to say?
Go ahead, Perkz.
Perkz.
No, I was gonna ask like what do you think about it in general, like the newer players coming to League, because there's like 180 champions now. For example, I've heard from like some sources that like Valorant is starting to become a more important game to the teams and to clubs and to their sponsors than like League, and that even like in Korea where like players are getting paid actually 10 times more than in Europe, like 5 to 10 times more. It's like still they're lacking like the new player base and like the potential for future talent, I guess, or like sustainability of the league. Whereas like Valorant is like seeing such a massive rise in like every single region, because every single region is kind of competitive as well. Like even like for example in League there is no like Russians or like Turkish players. Very few Turkish players are like good, and like Valorant you have like full Turkish teams. They're like. That is like fucking good, or like, so you have like Latin America, like South America, North America, I don't know, Pacific, China, Korea, Russia, Turkey, like, I don't know, Europe, like you have like so many regions. They're like, the fans are getting all over the world and everyone is playing the game. And with League, it's like, it feels like it's so like, the player base in general on servers is like dropping down. And like, okay, the viewership in pro games, I think would be dropping down for what we had mentioned, right? But like, what do you think about that? Basically, like, what do you like, Yamato and Dom?
That's what I wanted to bring up, because I think that's the scariest aspect. Is like the player base is not moving. It's like I don't imagine anyone starting to play League from this day. It's such an alienating game. In terms of like what you need to understand. It's like being a beginner in League of Legends must be so fucking scary and daunting to start. I can imagine it's like now it's like I feel like League of Legends in terms of the mistakes of how franchise was done, in terms of how they set up like the whole incentive structure around the teams. It's like Valorant is now gaining from all of the lessons, right? It's like they have like the skins for the weapons. There's like revenue sharing for the teams. Like all of the younger generation want to get involved in Valorant in terms of how they set up the franchise system as well. It's like open. There's new qualifying teams as well. They have like learned from the mistakes of course, like the LEC. And I think that's like the second issue is that we've lost the grittiness of what is esports because there is no way where I can be like, oh, I can grind for absolutely fucking nothing. And I can like find like-minded people and be like, yo, these teams are doing it the wrong way. Fuck these guys. We're going to qualify and do it our own way. I know for a fact, probably for everyone in this call, if there was no franchise system, we all three of us would have probably made like a challenger team to fucking try to qualify into the LEC or the LCS to make it our own way and do it our own way. It's like Origin did it. It's like C9 did it. I don't know, remember what they were called back in the day. It's like those teams that were built with a purpose to qualify because you just disagreed with all the fucking bullshit of the other teams. It's like working for zero with that goal in mind feels really fucking good. But if you're working for zero grinding solo queue and you don't know if you're going to be noticed or not and it's complete fucking burger flip, that shit is just, there's no like real path to real success. And I think that part, together with the fact that the player base is not fucking increasing because the game must be super alienating, I think that's the scariest part. Because that's kind of what happened with Overwatch. It's like they tried to make like the franchise league, but people didn't give a fuck about the game, and then it died out slowly. They tried to inflate viewership with like random aspects, right? It's like inflating viewership with big streamers like Ibai and Kamito is a good thing, I think, because you invite new viewership, but it's fleeting, right? Yeah. It's fleeting, right? They're not there for the product, they're there for other reasons. And sometimes you can maintain things like that, but then you begin to look at the teams that don't fucking contribute anything, like GX or Rogue. Like, why the fuck are they there? They're just fucking... And then you begin to think from the other side, like, why the fuck are we here if they're allowed to be here? Because the balance of our contribution is completely fucking off. That's
starting to think the best team in LEC was Misfits selling their spot for like $40 million.
Yeah.
They were the smartest. Ben the GOAT, man.
Yeah. They still own like part of the Heretics slot, right?
They still own like 20% of Heretics, I think.
They still own 20% of Heretics.
And I think it was like 40 million or something, 45 or something. I don't know how much they paid, but like they got scammed, man. Like they got scammed, bro. Like holy shit, that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, I would be surprised because last year, I mean, the Falcons rumor that we were talking about earlier. There was a rumor that it was actually denied by Riot last year. I'd be really surprised if they deny it again. Like I feel
this year,
because I feel like if they're already letting EWC happen, and there's they're saying MSI is not going to be in Saudi Arabia. They made that statement, but like the timing lined up, so people think something's happening in Saudi next year at least. I would be surprised if they don't opt into that money, because I feel like that's the places where the money's actually coming from. So.
I think the scene needs it actually. From from the inside infos, I think the scene needs it, because otherwise it's like, even like if the salary cuts keep happening more, there is like, I mean, I enjoy playing for the sake of playing. Like I'm gonna play for nothing now, but it's like, what's gonna keep somebody? I'm gonna say random name, like don't take it for granted, but somebody like Humanoid playing, if he's like not getting paid, if he's not getting paid, if he's not getting paid a lot of money, like what you think Humanoid is gonna sign for like 200K for some team? Like I'm not sure. I think he might just not, and it's like, even though he's not like as big as Caps or me or Jankos, like he's still like one of the like bigger names in the league, right? Like there's gonna be maybe more players like that that's gonna just like if you're not getting money doing this, like the hell, like, because the problem I think with all that is the fact that the salaries were so high a few years ago. I think that bump should have never happened. Like it should have never happened that you can like 2x or 3x your salary over one off season. That's just not something that's healthy. I mean, I won't complain, but but that is the overall issue with like this. It wasn't just for me. It was like money was being thrown around for everyone. Like everyone was getting their piece of cake if you were on the right team, right? So it's like. That's it. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm genuinely curious. I would love for League to be the game and the esport on top for a long time. In the future, I'm gonna be somehow involved in it, right? So, but yeah. Thank you guys. I was genuinely curious about your thoughts on this because it's like it's a genuine concern for me, I guess, for the future of League. And I guess your guys' jobs as well as mine.
Yeah,
Bro,
I guess.
What do we do if League dies, bro? All this useless information, bro.
Oh, I'm taking a break, bro. I'm gonna
yep. I'm taking a
break. I'm taking the Perkz break. If League dies, I'm taking a nice 1 year to myself, and then we'll come up with a plan after that, bro. That's for sure.
Then you go Valorant, Dom. You go to Valorant next. You have to start grinding.
All right, I'll go to Valorant, man. I'll just talk some bullshit about the players over there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Final question. What is your thoughts on this topic of Gilius declining $750,000 after the Miracle Run to go to FlyQuest? You think you should have taken the bag?
Wait, what? After Schalke?
After Schalke. After Miracle Run.
What did he join after?
Inside meme between the sack. Yeah.
What team did he join after that?
He stayed on Schalke. That was the team with BB, him, Abadage, and then the team and then he got dropped in between spring and summer when Abadage went to 100 Thieves and
just take it, no? Why would you just not take it, bro? Like it's your life future in hands. If you can get it, you take it. Like in the end, what did he stay for Schalke for 150?
For loyalty.
What did he say?
To play with the boys because he believed after the Miracle Run that him and Abadage could run it back and do big things.
Well, yeah.
Then he left him.
Yeah. That sounds like a Gilius problem to me.
Yep. That's what I keep on trying to tell the guy. All right, man.
Very nice way, Dom.
Yeah. Yeah, in a nice way. In a nice way, for sure.
They took G2 to 5 games, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, in spring. Yep,
and
Darius.
We got 0-3,
so
which was pretty
Gilius
interesting.
Almost beat Mickey, Reckless, Cups, Wunder Jankos. That would have been hilarious.
Yep.
So it was almost perfect.
Yeah, it's almost perfect. It's those margins that you were talking about earlier. Those minor things of luck that change your entire life. Now he's just in the sack with us. But It is what it is. Anyways, we're gonna wrap it up here. That was the first ever episode of the Sack Down. I think this was an absolute banger. I mean, having Perkz here, it's so easy to do talk shows when we have Perkz. We'll just talk all the bullshit, get all the spicy takes. I love it. Oh man, the comments are gonna fucking love this one. I'll tell you that right now. We're gonna get some traction. We're getting some motion on Reddit after this. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back with a new episode next week, and we'll see you all there.